Line 4 is we recognize and acknowledge is Queen Anne County's highest priority. It's US 301 at Maryland 304, replacement of the current at-grade intersection with a grade-separated interchange.
Just curious why the check mark project outside PFA, subject to exception. We brought that into PFA and expanded that actually for commercial use. And
it's been 6 months ago, I guess.
6-8 months ago. That is in a PFA.
All right.
It's freestanding.
Let us
PFA. Okay, just wanted to
check into that. Yeah. Thank you. We were successful in obtaining National Environmental Policy Act approval for this project early this year. Engineering has been underway and is about 25% complete. This is a project that, unfortunately, because of the economic downturn, we've had to put further engineering work on hold until the revenue picture improves. As I say, we do recognize the priority of this project to the county, and we're hopeful that we can resume engineering on this once our revenue picture improves. Actually, in conversation that I had with President Wargotz last week, we were talking about cost estimates for interchanges. The total cost estimate for all phases on this project is approximately $50 million, with the construction phase being $40 million.
We as the board, and certainly the citizens, appreciate what you do here. And when I said earlier that the major capital improvement projects we have here are not merely for convenience, they're genuinely safety issues, I wasn't kidding. I mean, seriously, and we have with us, and I'd like them to comment a little for you on that, particularly the 301, 304 matter of the $6.1 million to complete the engineering is a great particular concern to me, and I know the entire board. Maybe we could have Sheriff Hoffman, Barrack Commander Boardman, and Director Chu make a few comments regarding that intersection, just to sort of help us implore you to reconsider that money. Gentlemen, would you like to make any comments? Please come on up. Just on the general traffic flow through there and the risks and experiences you're having.
I'm Lieutenant Boardman, the Barrack Commander for the Maryland State Police Centerville Barrack. We serve Kent and Queen Anne's County. Nice to meet you all. 301 and 304, we've had many discussions over the past several years. The Board of the Commissioners, Mr. Lindsay, and I have met out at that location personally, along with a team from Queen Anne's County, to see if we can come up with some interim solutions. We all know that it can be a scary intersection for people to cross, and what makes that intersection so much more, it's much more important there to us is the school bus traffic and the seniors or juniors and seniors of high school that are new drivers that use that intersection quite regularly to try to cross 301, which is a major thoroughfare. Unfortunately, it's a major truck route. Coming down 301 from the north, heading towards the Bay Bridge and other areas. We've had some, of course, some deadly accidents there and some very serious injury. And it's been a priority here for the past couple years to preferably have an overpass there. That's what we're all, I guess, shooting for and aiming for. But if we can't do that, if there's anything else that we can do in the interim while we're waiting, because we understand that an overpass may be 10 years out, and that's maybe best case scenario. So I know that there's we've done some great things with some other intersections. For example, 301 near the outlets. I think we've drastically reduced serious injuries there at that intersection, which is I'm not sure, what is that configuration called now?
That's actually what we call the half signal.
Just to interject, our history on this, our file on this intersection begins before our documentation, but the earliest documentation we have is February 1998, when the county commissioners requested MDOT to accelerate planning for that intersection. So it's been over 10 years.
I think it's been our #1 priority since 2002,
yeah,
if I would recall correctly.
Yes, so I guess it would be our mutual goal probably if, while we're waiting for the overpass, to maybe try to reconfigure and to come up with a temporary solution until we get an overpass to possibly limit cross-traffic across Route 304, which would be J-turn configurations, or something along that line to make it a lot safer for traffic traveling both north and south on 301 and then east and west on 304. If we limit that, maybe making turns at other locations and then only allowing right turns off of 301 onto certain portions of 304. So,
but if I hear you correctly, you're suggesting these as interim, and that
yes.
Obviously we need to keep the project moving along. The fear is if we take a halt, a delay, a deferral, you know, we don't know really when it's going to be a priority again.
If I could,
Director Chu.
just why Director Chu's coming up. The 404 project really has minimum effect on Queen Anne's County residents. We have very few residents that go out and use 404 to go to work, commute back and forth. The monies for those projects, if they were diverted over 304, we would be much better service for our citizens in the county. I mean, the 404 project is from most of our standpoints, is just to get people to the beach. You know, as far as effect on Queen Anne's County, it's minimal, very minimal. I bet you there's not 30 cars a day that use that from out of Queen Anne's County that go to work in Denton or south that way.
Director Chu, your experience.
Secretary, members of the board, John Chu, Director, Department of Emergency Services for Queen Anne's County. I'd like to speak in strong favor of accelerating the work on 301, 304. I think, as most people know, that's a pretty consolidated complex. Within there, we share with the Department of Public Works, Maryland State Police, and the Department of Emergency Services. It is one of 4 EMS stations within the county. However, it happens to be our second busiest, and nearly 40% of all the Department of Emergency Services vehicles departs from that particular intersection. As a matter of fact, we've had 2 paramedics injured at that intersection here in the last several years. It's extremely dangerous. It's exacerbated. It's easy for you to say. Exacerbated by the truck stop, because not only do we have heavy equipment from Public Works coming out there, but we have emergency response vehicles, and it creates a serious dilemma for us. However, more importantly, at night, it's even worse, and 60% of our calls are at night. So we have ambulances crossing 301 at an uncontrolled intersection. Now, we really appreciate the acceleration lane that was put in there. That has been a great help to us. However, crossing 301, because I think almost 70% of all the traffic that leaves that center goes left on 301. And that's the dangerous intersection. So we certainly would appreciate any acceleration that you could apply to that project. Before I leave, I'd like to take just 2 seconds to the Secretary mention the working relationship that we have with the Department of Employees, both at the state and the local level. Part of the charm of this county is that we share a 3-county, very complex emergency communication system with Talbot and Caroline County. However, most people think it's a county system. It's actually shared by the state, and the State Highway Administration is a fundamental partner in that. It's a remarkable exercise in county-state relationship. And at this time, I would like to thank, you mentioned the relationship that we have. I think it's remarkable, and I'd like to thank Craig Fetzer and John Contestable and Rich Lindsay and Ken Cimino for the relationship that we have. We managed to solve our local problems, and I want to thank you for that opportunity. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Director. Thank you, Commander. Appreciate it. So, I mean, please, Director Mon, 301, 304, we need to implore you to keep that going.
The sheriff have his...
Yes, did you want to make some remarks, Sheriff?
My sentiments with you guys exactly on the importance of doing the intersection. That's all right. I won't belabor this. And one thing I was going to tell you is that we're getting an increased truck traffic that's coming out of Bridgetown in reference to the sand pits. And a lot of those trucks are coming off of 304. They're actually going out onto 301, going into the fast lane and then into the slow lane, which is creating some problems. Plus the amount of school buses that are actually coming out of 301 through the Bridgetown area and all. So, and I agree with the lieutenant, the amount of juveniles that are actually using that, the seniors and the juniors that are starting to drive. So we're seeing an increased number of crashes in that area. So we appreciate your consideration and also for hopefully speeding up at least the minimum of the J turns to get traffic off that intersection. Thanks.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Just for, and I'm sure Richard is very well aware of this, but Queen Anne's County High School, everybody who lives north of Centerville pretty much is going to come in on a school bus or in a car at that intersection. And then we have Centerville Middle School where a large percentage of the students are coming in on school buses on the one side. So on top of having all the facilities, the safety facilities and public works on the one side of the road there, we have these two schools which are
Actually, you have 4 schools, Centerville Primary and Kennard, too, that all
feed in there as well. But I mean, you have so many of those. So you have approximately 25% of the schools in the county are coming, or some percentage of the students are coming in through that intersection. That's why this is so important and why it's been our number one priority for so long.
And please don't defer. If you walk out of here with anything, don't defer the engineering on our number one priority after it's been over 10 years wait. You guys started a year or two ago on the engineering, and please continue that. Don't drop the ball on this. Don't stop it.
Thank you.
Yes, Director Moss.
Yes, I would just reiterate that 301, 304 has been our big priority, top priority for a number of years. Well over 10 years, we've been trying to address this with the state. And not to put anybody on the spot, but we did get a letter just last week saying that there was design money that was allocated for 301, 304 to continue that. And I can only assume that was addressing last year's tour letter.
We just got
that letter last week. So we were sort of confused and scratching our heads thinking, well, how is that going to affect our schedule? Because we heard that there could be some deferrals, and I guess maybe you could get back to us and explain how that would affect the schedule. We were hoping to have the design complete by fiscal 10 and then hopefully get construction funding after that. So, and that was the schedule that we had delivered at one of the SHA staff meetings last fall. So again, it's our highest priority. It's a real safety concern for us, as we've stressed that is our driving factor for our priorities here in the county.